This is the Mobile App Minute, a weekly look at how to market your mobile app in a noisy world. Here are your hosts, Rob Woodbridge and Peggy Ann Souls.
Welcome back to the Mobile App Minute. My name is Rob Woodbridge from Untethered.tv.
And I'm Peggy Ann Saltz over at Mobile Groove.
The enterprise. Peggy, you love the enterprise. With a fast-growing and appealing customer base, now using mobile devices and mobile apps, companies are in a race to harness the power of mobile apps to increase efficiency, control costs, improve customer service, and encourage lasting loyalty and engagement. This trend comes through loud and clear when we look at recent surveys, like the IT Buyers Survey conducted by GigaOM Research. When asked to identify the business applications they support for their mobile workforce, buyers revealed communications and productivity applications dominate, with email, of course, still leading the pack. Communications and conferencing applications such as Skype and GoToMeeting come in second with about 43.3%, with applications related to CRM and sales automation at 26.4% and collaboration at 37.8% gaining serious traction. So it would seem that mobilizing the workforce and all services around attracting and retaining customers are top of radar with companies and businesses across all verticals. Peggy, is this a mobile app megatrend we are approaching?
Absolutely, Rob. I've been looking at this for a while in my research at Mobile Groove over at GigaOM Research. In fact, my newest client, I'm advising that company. It creates productivity apps and, getting that story right, but also, focusing on that audience because that audience is sorely in need of apps that mobilize the workforce, mobilize the sales force, and connect with customers. So bringing in my most recent report for GigaOM Research, Managing the Complete Customer Experience, Encouraging Engagement with Mobile and Apps, that's a report where I map out all the moving parts of effective and engaging enterprise apps. So I point out that mobile apps are becoming the business tool to reimagine the customer experience, as well as supercharge sales and service channels. And in it, I also make the case that mobile apps are essential to delivering great customer experience. And this, of course, turns up the pressure on companies to really start customizing customer service. So how do you deliver an app that is really that individual, for us, the individuals? Well, one way to deliver it and to deliver quality service mobile apps quickly is to make the most of cloud-based solutions and platforms from companies from the likes of Twilio, which I also cover in the report, and companion posts over at Mobile Groove. So Rob, in a nutshell, yes, the enterprise opportunity, it's very big. I'm watching it. It's my favorite, I would say, next to maybe educational apps. And, it's top of the radar for a lot of good reasons.
So you're obviously a fan of the enterprise opportunities. We've covered this before, where we think that the biggest opportunity for independent developers is, in fact, in the enterprise. We all agree in this. And the thing that our viewers love the most is when you bring information and infographics to them, data, statistics. What have you got for us today in the enterprise?
That's it, Rob. I'm a woman with a mission here. It's about bringing in some of that information that you might not see along the way. I'm always looking, and in this case, I found a recent graph from the company called Mubaloo, and it's a company that's very well inserted in this space. I would say it's even synonymous with enterprise app development and consulting. So the infographic I've found, again, I bring these in because they sort of confirm what we know, but they also really uncover, I believe, opportunities for app developers. So it's the numbers that you can use, the business intelligence you can use when you say, hey, we have to focus on enterprise apps. Well, this is one of those infographics based on hard fact that's going to make that case for you. So I'll walk you through it really briefly. We see that if key applications are mobilized, there is a 36% boost in productivity. However, only 22% of applications can currently be accessed from a mobile device. So you do the math, and that spells opportunity, maybe even the obligation for enterprises to mobilize key apps, and in order basically to enjoy the productivity boost, but also, it's just table stakes. It's the way an enterprise needs to function. So looking down a little bit further, we see data from IT decision makers that shows which apps, internal or external, are the ones they think are most important to mobilize. So at one end of the spectrum, it's about equipping the workforce and the sales force to be truly mobile. And that's table stakes, as we've been saying. At the other end, and this is interesting, it's about using mobile to improve CRM and other customer-facing field activities and marketing activities. In fact, I would even argue that external is in many ways even perhaps more important to be mobilized, because you have to consider that this is customer-facing activities. This is marketing, this is sales, this is purchasing, and this depends on connecting with us, the customer. And of course, we, the people, are already mobilized. That's what I hear at conferences and read everywhere in reports. Why are you mobile? We're mobile because our customers are mobile. And it's the same for the enterprise. So for me, this is a signal that says, yes, interact with us on the channels we prefer, which is primarily mobile apps. And it's also a sign to companies to say, hey, enterprise opportunity is there, the external opportunity as well as the internal opportunity. But in both cases, it's about connecting with your customer, serving your customer, and you can't lose any time at it. Which brings us to the final data points in the infographic. Some I think app devs will really appreciate here. Only 32% of IT decision makers felt they had the requisite skills when it comes to developing mobile apps. And I read this as a way to say that decision makers really don't feel they have what it takes to make a mobile app in the first place. So that's an opportunity for you, the indie app developer. Or if you're working with a company such as Mubaloo, that delivers these apps. And it's interesting that nearly half, or 47%, of those who do develop apps internally for their companies nonetheless have their reservations about repeating the process due to time, cost, and complexity issues. So put this all together, and you're seeing that apps are needed, but IT decision makers also feel the pressure to put those apps out.
One of the things that we've seen quite often, Peggy, in the enterprise is the rush to build an app, and it's kind of like set and forget. So they build the app, and then they just throw them aside. It's done. Check mark, done. They have to be updated as well. There has to be a clear strategy on what this app means to the organization, and you can't just build and forget, right?
No, absolutely not. I mean, they might have thought, well, it's just those types of processes and functions and what really changes there. But since those are functions that have to deal with customers, customer service, customer facing, marketing, Salesforce, what have you, then obviously they need to be updated, because otherwise we're not going to use them. We have an expectation that the apps we use as consumers, sort of set the benchmark. And enterprises, I think, need to understand that. So that brings me back to a very interesting point also in the infographic, and I'll point you to it, that failing to update from iOS 6 to iOS 7, and that's just a small jump, really. I mean, we're not even talking about all the other flavors of apps out there, but just failing to update from iOS 6 to iOS 7 led to a 20% drop in usage alone, and a whopping 86% of people, this is borne out by the data, what I was saying, customers say they would delete an app after poor performance. So the bottom line here is that apps are essential to the enterprise for all functions, internal and external, and they have to be up to date when they deliver, if they want to deliver a really great experience. And so there's another side story here, Rob, that I think is also interesting, and that's just, okay, one is that companies need apps. Okay, enterprises need apps too. And that's why companies like Mubaloo, for example, are prepared for increased demand. But that sends another interesting message out there to the markets as well, so to the businesses that need the enterprise app. And that is, these enterprise app developers, these indie developers, they're going to be in demand, which is great news. They're going to have work, right? We remember from the Vision Mobile report where the opportunity is, not only in enterprise, but growing in enterprise. So the message out there is not just to make that app, but basically you want to lock down those developers, those developer companies, those consulting companies like Mubaloo, those indie developers who can do that. You want to lock them down, because if it's got to be on an app and it has to meet the demand of your customers, then you're going to need to work with someone to get it right.
Don't forget to come back next week for our next episode.